She may not regret losing you today. She may act cold. She may act busy. She may act like moving on was easy. She may post like nothing happened. She may reply like you were never important. She may make you feel like everything you gave her was easy to forget. And that is the part that hurts because you are sitting there with memories that still feel alive while she looks like she already buried them. You remember the way she used to talk to you, the way she used to look at you, the way she used to make you feel chosen, the small moments, the private jokes, the soft side of her that nobody else got to see. And now she acts like losing you is not a big deal. That makes a man want to do something. Doc text her, ask why, explain again, remind her what you gave, tell her she will regret it, show her you are better than the man she may be talking to. Post something so she notices, check her stories to see if she looks happy, wait for one sign that she is feeling the loss too. But listen carefully. The moment you start trying to force her regret, you become the reason she feels less of it. Because regret does not grow when a man is begging to be remembered. Regret grows in silence, distance, reality, and contrast. Regret grows when she no longer has easy access to the man she thought would always chase. Regret grows when she realizes your presence had value because your absence has weight. Regret grows when she experiences life without your attention, without your comfort, without your loyalty, without your emotional support, without the man who used to show up even when she gave less. But your job is not to make her regret. Your job is to make sure you do not regret losing yourself. That is the deeper truth. Most men are so focused on whether she will regret losing them that they ignore the more painful question: will you regret the way you handled losing her? Will you regret begging? Will you regret chasing? Will you regret checking her stories every night? Will you regret sending long paragraphs that made you feel smaller after you pressed send? Will you regret apologizing for things that were not yours just to keep her from leaving? Will you regret waiting months for someone who was not choosing you clearly? Will you regret letting heartbreak turn you into a man you do not respect? That is the question, because a man does not regain power by chasing regret out of a woman. He regains power by becoming calm, controlled, disciplined, self respecting, and strong enough to walk back into his own life. The goal is not to manipulate her into returning, the goal is not to make her suffer. The goal is not to sit around waiting for the day she cries and realizes she lost a good man. The goal is to become a man who no longer loses himself when someone walks away. And when a man becomes that, regret becomes possible, not guaranteed. Possible because now she is not comparing you to the desperate man who kept chasing. She is remembering the man who stopped giving access when he was no longer respected. That kind of man is harder to forget. Now, understand something. Regret is rarely instant. Most people do not feel the full weight of a loss in the moment they create it. At first, they may feel freedom, they may feel relief, they may feel powerful, they may feel like they have options. They may distract themselves with attention, friends, work, social media, new conversations, or another man. That is why you cannot panic when she looks fine. A lot of men see her acting happy and immediately collapse. They think, she forgot me. They think I meant nothing. They think she moved on so fast. They think I have to do something before she is gone forever. And that panic makes them chase. But what you see on the outside is not always the full truth. A smile online is not closure. A new post is not peace. A new conversation is not healing. A new man is not always love. Sometimes people move fast because they do not want to feel. Sometimes they stay busy because silence would make them think. Sometimes they act cold because softness would expose guilt. Sometimes they look happy because pride is easier than honesty. But again, that is not your job to prove. Your job is not to decode her behavior. Your job is to stop acting like her behavior controls your worth, because if she only regrets you when you chase, that is not regret. That is control. Real regret comes when your absence is real. And your absence is not real if you are still checking. It is not real if you are still watching every story. It is not real if you are still asking mutual friends. It is not real if every post you make is designed for her reaction. It is not real if you are silent on the phone but begging in your mind. That is not absence. That is hidden chasing. And hidden chasing keeps you emotionally tied to the same wound. If you want her to feel the loss, stop interrupting the loss. If she wanted space, let her experience space. If she wanted distance, let her experience distance. If she chose silence, stop filling that silence with your anxiety. If she treated you like an option, stop giving her priority access. If she thought life would be easier without you, step back enough for reality to answer that, not with anger, not with revenge, not with bitterness, with self respect. Because every time you chase after she pulls away, you soften the consequence of losing you. Every time you send another message after she ignored you, you teach her that you will keep returning. Every time you check in just to keep the door warm, you make your absence weak. Every time you act like nothing happened because you are afraid to lose her, you show that your fear is stronger than your standards. That is why most men never get respected after loss. They are too available after being devalued. A man with self respect is different. He does not scream, he does not insult, he does not beg, he does not compete. He simply removes his energy from the place where it is no longer being honored. That is the beginning of power. Now, why might she regret losing you more than you think? Because attention is easy to replace, presence is not. A new man can text her, a new man can compliment her, a new man can make her laugh, a new man can give her excitement, a new man can make her feel desired for a moment. But he cannot instantly replace history. He cannot instantly replace emotional safety. He cannot instantly replace the way you understood certain parts of her. He cannot instantly replace the patience you gave. He cannot instantly replace the memories. He cannot instantly replace the way you stayed when things were not easy. He cannot instantly replace the quiet loyalty that was built over time. But here is the part you must understand like a man. Just because your presence had value does not mean you should stand around trying to prove it. If you try to prove your value after someone has chosen distance, you lower the very value you want them to see. A man does not stand at the door saying, "Please remember what I was." He walks away with dignity and lets time reveal what words could not, because some lessons cannot be explained. They have to be experienced. You can tell her you were loyal, but she may only understand loyalty when she meets attention without loyalty. You can tell her you cared, but she may only understand your care when she meets someone who wants her but does not actually understand her. You can tell her you were patient, but she may only understand your patience when someone else gets tired of her complexity. You can tell her your love was real, but she may only understand real when the new excitement becomes shallow. That does not mean she will come back. It means life has a way of revealing what people took for granted. But you cannot stand there waiting for the reveal. You have a life to rebuild. That is where your power comes from. Because the man who waits for her regret is still controlled by her. The man who builds without needing her regret becomes free. And freedom is what makes you dangerous to your old weakness. Now, let us talk about the mistake most men make when they want her to regret losing them. They try to make her jealous. They post fake happiness. They post themselves around other women. They post gym pictures only for her eyes. They post quotes about loyalty and betrayal. They try to look unbothered, but the whole performance is still about her. That is not power. That is pain wearing a costume. A woman can feel when a man is performing. Even if she reacts, it does not mean she respects it. Sometimes she may feel jealous, but jealousy is not the same as regret. Jealousy is a reaction, regret is a realization. Jealousy can happen quickly. Regret takes depth. Jealousy asks, "Is he moving on?" Regret asks, "What did I lose?" Do not settle for creating jealousy when you could be creating real growth. Real growth is quieter. Real growth does not ask, "Will she see this?" Real growth asks, "Will this make my life better?" If you train, train because your body deserves strength. If you work, work because your future needs options. If you build money, build because a man with options moves differently. If you fix your sleep, fix it because tired men make weak decisions. If you become disciplined, do it because the weak version of you has led long enough. That kind of growth is not a performance, it is identity. And when your identity changes, your energy changes. You stop looking like a man trying to be noticed. You start becoming a man who is no longer available to be handled carelessly. That is the kind of change a woman may regret losing. Not your fake posts, your real evolution. Now, let us be honest about the wound. A part of you may want her to regret losing you because you want your pain to be validated. You want her regret to prove you mattered. You want her sadness to prove the relationship was real. You want her return to prove you were enough. You want her apology to repair the part of you that felt rejected. That is human. But it is also dangerous because if your healing depends on her regret, she still controls your healing. If your confidence depends on her return, she still controls your confidence. If your peace depends on her missing you, she still controls your peace. A free man does not need revenge. He needs direction. A free man does not say, I hope she suffers. He says, I hope I never abandon myself like that again. A weak man turns heartbreak into bitterness. A strong man turns heartbreak into standards. A weak man wants her to feel pain. A strong man refuses to keep causing pain to himself. That is the difference, because the deepest damage was not only that she left, it was what you almost became trying to keep her. The overthinking, the checking, the begging, the apologizing for things that were not yours, the waiting, the comparison, the emotional hunger, the way one reply could lift you and one silence could destroy you. That is what has to end, not because of her, because of you. You cannot keep living like your identity belongs to someone else's phone. You cannot keep letting one woman's distance make you question your entire worth. You cannot keep giving full access to people who only give you confusion. At some point, a man has to stand up inside himself and say, enough. Enough chasing. Enough checking, enough begging, enough waiting, enough trying to prove myself to someone who knows what I gave, enough losing sleep over someone who chose distance, enough abandoning the man I am supposed to become. That moment is where transformation begins. Now, here's what she may regret more than you think. She may regret losing your patience, not today, maybe not tomorrow, but over time, when someone else gets irritated where you stayed calm, when someone else misunderstands what you used to understand, when someone else only wants the easy version of her, she may remember that you tried to see the whole person, but you cannot chase that memory into her. Let it come or not come. You build. She may regret losing your emotional safety. Maybe she did not appreciate it because it was always there. Maybe she got used to your comfort. Maybe she assumed your support would always be close. Maybe she thought your care was normal because you gave it so naturally. But when comfort is removed, people sometimes realize how much they relied on it. Agon, do not wait for that. Build, she may regret losing your consistency, because inconsistent people often look exciting at first. They bring mystery, they bring intensity, they bring highs. But over time, inconsistency becomes exhausting. A steady man may not always feel dramatic, but his presence creates peace. Peace is often underestimated until it is gone. But do not send her a message saying that live your life. She may regret losing the version of you that genuinely wanted to build something, because many people want attention. Fewer people want responsibility. Many people want chemistry. Fewer people want commitment. Many people want the fun version of love. Fewer people know how to stay when things get real. If you were a man who genuinely wanted something real, that has value. But value should not beg to be recognized. It should walk when it is not respected. Now, let us talk about the late night moment, because this is where most men lose their frame. During the day, you can sound strong. You can say you are done. You can tell yourself she will regret it. You can train, you can work, you can keep moving. But at night, when the room gets quiet and your phone is close, the pain gets honest, you remember the good version of her, the way she smiled, the way she used to talk to you, the messages she used to send, the soft side of her. Then you remember the cold version too, the distance, the late replies, the silence, the way she stopped trying, the way you started shrinking just to keep her close. And then your mind starts negotiating. Maybe I should text. Maybe she is waiting. Maybe she thinks I do not care. Maybe if I say the right thing, she will remember. Maybe I need closure. Maybe I should just send one small message. But be honest, most of the time you do not want to text because it is wise. You want to text because the pain is loud. You want relief. You want a reply. You want one sign that you still matter. That is not love leading you. That is anxiety looking for medicine. And a message sent from anxiety rarely brings peace. It creates another prison. Now you are waiting again. Now you are checking again. Now her reply controls your night again. If she responds warmly, you get addicted again. If she responds coldly, you crash. If she does not respond, you feel rejected all over again. Do not trade your dignity for a few minutes of relief. A strong man tells himself the truth before he acts. He says, I want to text because I feel anxious. Then he leads himself. He puts the phone down. He walks. He trains. He writes the message in notes but does not send it. He prays if faith is part of his life. He sleeps. He lets the emotional wave rise and fall without obeying it. Pain can be felt without being followed. You can miss her and still not text. You can care and still not chase. You can feel rejected and still not beg. You can want answers and still not reopen the wound. That is emotional control. And emotional control is what makes your silence real. Because anyone can be quiet when they feel proud. Anyone can disappear for a day when they are angry. Anyone can say, I am done when their ego is high. But can you stay grounded when loneliness hits? Can you stay disciplined when she posts something? Can you keep your routine when your mind is imagining her moving on? Can you stop yourself before doing something your future self will regret? That is where a man is built, not in the easy moment, in the moment where his old weakness is calling him back. Now, here's your 7 day reset. For 7 days, do not message her first from panic. Do not check her stories. Do not ask mutual friends about her. Do not post to get her attention. Do not make emotional decisions at night. Do not reread old messages until your chest hurts. Do not send a soft message when what you really want is reassurance. Put that energy into training, work, money, sleep, discipline, faith, emotional control, and rebuilding your identity. Train your body even when your mind is heavy. Clean your room even when your emotions feel messy. Fix your sleep because tired men make weak decisions. Eat properly because heartbreak drains your focus. Walk when the urge to check hits. Brought what you want to say, but do not send it from panic. Put your phone away before midnight. Build your day before your emotions build it for you. This is not about pretending you do not care. It is about proving that her silence does not own you. Every time you do not chase, you rebuild self trust. Every time you do not check, you rebuild control. Every time you do not ask about her, you rebuild dignity. Every time you keep your routine while hurting, you become stronger. Confidence is built by keeping promises to yourself. You said you would not beg, do not beg. You said you would not chase, do not chase. You said you would not abandon your standards, do not abandon them. That is how a man becomes solid, and a solid man is not easily pulled back into chaos. Now, understand how regret actually works. Regret usually needs contrast. She has to feel the difference between what she had and what she now experiences. She has to live without your attention. She has to live without your emotional availability. She has to live without you checking in. She has to live without you being the man who absorbs confusion. She has to live without your patience, your effort, your warmth, your presence. But if you keep giving her pieces of you after she has chosen distance, you prevent the contrast. You keep giving comfort without commitment. You keep giving attention without clarity. You keep giving emotional access without respect. Then she never fully feels what losing you means because you are still half present. That is why you step back completely, not to hurt her, to stop hurting yourself, not to make her regret, to stop being available for a role that damages your self respect. You do not need to announce it. You do not need to send a goodbye essay. You do not need to tell her, you will regret this. You simply stop participating in your own devaluation. That is a powerful sentence. Stop participating in your own devaluation. If someone gives you distance, stop chasing. If someone gives you confusion, stop over explaining. If someone gives you crumbs, stop treating them like a meal. If someone gives you silence, stop sacrificing your peace trying to fill it. A man with self respect does not keep feeding a connection that is starving him. He steps back, and in stepping back, he recovers his center. Now, if she reaches out again, you must be careful because many men survive the silence and fail when she returns. They finally stop chasing, they finally start rebuilding, they finally sleep a little better. Then her name appears on the phone. Hey, how are you? I was thinking about you. I miss you. Can we talk? And suddenly the old man wakes up. He replies too fast. He writes too much. He asks if she missed him. He tries to force clarity. He pours months of pain into one conversation. He acts like he has been waiting by the phone the whole time. And she feels it. She feels the hunger. She feels the pressure. She feels that his silence was not growth, it was waiting. Do not be that man. A small message is not a full return. A hey is not accountability. And I miss you is not change behavior. A late night text is not emotional maturity. A story view is not love. A woman touching the door is not the same as a woman walking through it with clarity. If she says, hey, you can say, hey, hope you're doing well. That is enough. If she says, I miss you, you can say, I hear you. What made you reach out? If she says, I've been thinking about us, you can say, I understand. What do you want to do with that? If she says, "Can we talk?" you can say, "We can talk, but I am not rushing back into anything. These are not games. They are calm boundaries. They show openness without desperation. They invite clarity without begging. They protect your peace without attacking her. A real return can handle patience. A fake return usually cannot. If she genuinely wants to reconnect, she will respect your pace. If she only wants emotional access, she may disappear when she realizes you are not easy anymore. Let that happen. You need truth more than temporary comfort because temporary comfort can pull you back into the same cycle that broke you. Truth sets you free. Now, if she comes back with guilt, stay centered. She may say, "So you just stopped caring?" She may say, "You changed." She may say, "You used to fight for me." She may say, "You moved on fast." Do not let guilt drag you back into the old pattern. You can care and still step back. You can love and still have boundaries. You can miss her and still refuse confusion. You can forgive and still move slowly. That is maturity. If she says, "You changed," you can say, "I had to." The old version of me kept losing himself. If she says, "You do not care anymore," you can say, "I care, but I am not chasing confusion anymore." If she says, "Why are you acting different?" you can say, "I am being more careful with my peace." That is enough. Do not over explain. Do not defend your growth for an hour. Do not let her turn your boundary into a debate. A man with a center speaks clearly, then watches behavior. Because behavior tells the truth. If she respects your boundary, that is information. If she mocks it, that is information. If she takes accountability, that is information. If she only wants access without responsibility, that is information. Do not fear information. Fear ignoring it because fantasy feels better. Now, if she comes back with real accountability, do not punish her. Some men finally get attention back and become arrogant. They act cold. They say, "Now you want me." They try to make her feel small because she hurt them. That is not strength. That is pain pretending to be power. A strong man does not need revenge to feel masculine. If she comes with clarity, listen. If she comes with humility, observe. If she comes with consistent effort, allow trust to build slowly, but do not rush. Forgiveness can happen in a moment, trust takes time. Do not confuse the two. If she apologizes, receive it calmly, but watch behavior. If she says she misses you, hear it, but watch consistency. If she wants to talk, talk, but do not throw away your peace. That is how a mature man moves. Now, if she comes back with confusion, step back. If she says, "I miss you, but I do not know what I want," do not become her emotional waiting room. If she says, "I care, but I am not ready," do not give full access to uncertainty. If she reaches out at night but disappears in the morning, do not chase. If she wants comfort without responsibility, step back. A man with self respect does not build his peace on maybe. Maybe can have space, maybe can have observation, maybe does not get your whole heart. That is how you protect yourself. Now, if she never regrets it, you still win. If you become the man this pain is shaping. This is the part many men do not want to hear. They want the story to end with her apology. They want proof. They want the message. They want the moment where she realizes she lost a good man. Maybe that happens. Maybe it does not. But you cannot build your life around maybe. The highest proof is not her regret. The highest proof is your peace. Can you sleep without her reply? Can you train without needing her to notice? Can you work without checking your phone every 10 minutes? Can you stop asking about her? Can you feel sadness without turning it into begging? Can you remember her without reopening the wound? Can you love deeply without losing your frame? That is success because a man who can do that is no longer easy to break. He is harder to manipulate, harder to pull into chaos, harder to make insecure, harder to treat like an option, harder to replace with temporary attention. That man is attractive because he is not desperate for attraction. He has direction. And direction is one of the strongest things a man can have. A man with direction does not orbit around a woman's uncertainty. He has things to build. He has a body to strengthen. He has money to earn. He has skills to sharpen. He has faith to deepen. He has standards to protect. He has a future that does not pause because one person became unclear. That is real masculine power. Not forcing her to miss you, not making her regret, not playing games, becoming the man who no longer has to beg anyone to see his worth. Now ask yourself the question that cuts through fantasy. Do you want her regret because she was truly good for your peace? Or do you want her regret because it would heal the wound of rejection? Do you miss her character? Or do you miss the version of yourself you felt like when she wanted you? Do you want a healthy relationship? Or do you want proof that you were enough? These questions matter because sometimes a man does not want the woman back. He wants his ego repaired. He wants the silence to end. He wants the rejection reversed. He wants one message to prove he still matters. But that is not healing. That is still being controlled by the wound. Real healing is when you no longer need her regret to feel valuable. Real healing is when you no longer need her return to respect yourself. Real healing is when you can say, if she comes back with clarity and respect, I will listen. If she does not, I will keep walking. That is freedom. And freedom is stronger than being missed. Freedom is not checking. Freedom is not waiting. Freedom is not performing. Freedom is not making your healing depend on her reaction. Freedom is when you choose yourself so consistently that her absence no longer destroys your identity. That is the man you are becoming. Now, one more thing, do not become heartless. Do not use this pain as an excuse to hate women. Do not say all women are the same. Do not become cruel because someone hurt you. Do not turn regret into revenge. That is not masculine. That is pain controlling your personality. A mature man learns the lesson without poisoning his heart. He says, I will not chase confusion again. He does not say, I will never care again. He says, I will protect my peace. He does not say, all women are bad. He says, I will choose better, move slower, and respect myself more. That is growth. Do not let heartbreak make you smaller. Let it make you wiser. You can still love deeply. You can still be loyal. You can still be warm. You can still care. But now, your love needs boundaries. Your loyalty needs standards. Your warmth needs discernment. Your care needs self respect because love without self respect becomes suffering. And suffering is not proof of love. Sometimes it is proof that you stayed too long in a place where you were no longer being met. So tonight, when your mind tells you to check if she regrets losing you, do not check. When your ego wants proof that she misses you, do not search for proof. When your heart wants to send one small message, do not send from panic. When loneliness tells you to reopen a door that hurt you, breathe, put the phone down, stand up, drink water, walk, train, pray, work, sit, leak, bill. Do one thing that makes tomorrow better because discipline is how a man tells heartbreak, you can hurt me, but you cannot lead me. That is the man she may regret losing, not the man who begged, not the man who folded, not the man who kept trying to force her to see his value, the man who hurt, but stayed composed, the man who cared, but did not abandon himself, the man who wanted her, but did not make her regret the measure of his worth, the man who turned silence into strength, pain into standards, and loss into direction. That man is hard to manipulate. That man is hard to replace. That man is free. So remember this, she may regret losing you more than you think, but you cannot make regret your mission. Your mission is your body, your work, your money, your sleep, your discipline, your faith, your standards, your emotional control, your future, your peace. Your mission is to become the man who no longer has to beg anyone to recognize what he brings. If she regrets it, let reality bring that to her. If she reaches out, meet it with calm. If she apologizes, observe. If she brings clarity, listen. If she brings confusion, step back. If she never regrets it, keep walking. Because the deepest truth is this, the goal is not to make her regret losing you. The goal is to become a man who never regrets choosing himself. And in the next video, you will learn the quiet signs her regret is real and the warning signs she only returned to see if the old version of you is still waiting.